a chapter we had from last chapter, which is kind of interesting where it left off. But this time, things are now turning it up a bit. So, Elbath might be in trouble, guys. Realize that we still haven't got, well, last chapter, the Gods Knights have now officially mobilized themselves against the Giants and the Straw Hats. Even though Saint Summers said, I'd rather not deal with the Emperor's crew right now. However, now that you're here, well, all bets are off. So, One Piece chapter 1147, titled The Things We Find Scary. And let's go ahead and jump in this chapter where it left off, where Saul has now been defeated and was not defeated, but he was defeated by protecting Robin and Chopper that was hiding in his hair, or I think it was beard. It looked like a beard and a hair. But he says, Robin, Chopper, hide. I've seen him before. He's one of the God's Knights. Be careful. And when Saul says, I've seen this guy before, you gotta remember, Saul used to be a Marine. I won't say Admiral, but he's a former Marine, so Navy Marine. So you gotta understand that when he was still in back then, following the government, he probably saw Saint Summers walking around routine checks or have to do this or was assigned somewhere. Because if he saw a long time, or if Saul saw him a long time ago, that jumps up a little alarm bells in his head. So, well, this ain't good. This is not good. So I'm glad he made a quick decision and said, Robin, Chopper, hide in my hair. This is not good. If he sees you, then it's over. And he also says, they're immortal. We can't beat them. For the children's sake, you gotta stay hidden and wait for the right moment. Now, Saint Summers says, well, the survivor of Ohara. Well, I guess there were two of you. The Marine sure dropped the ball there. And when he says two, I'm guessing he senses Robin in there too. So it's not only Saul, but Robin he senses in his hair. I'm pretty sure, I'm guessing. So you just see all the vines, all the thorn vines starting to wrap around Saul, and you see Robin hugging Chopper tightly just to calm him down. And Saint Summers says, and then he addresses Gonko. He said, Gonko, are you done rounding up the Straw Hats? Or we bring them back with us? Uh-oh. That ain't good. And then Quillham says, Summers, you dolt. We aren't here to provoke the Straw Hat Luffy, right? He's talking about Luffy. I'm telling you, if Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and Harujin, and the rest of the warrior pirates, including Loki, get back up some way, I'm betting you $100 that the tide of this battle will 360 itself all over, and the tide will be towards Luffy, the Straw Hats, and the Giants. Because for one thing, you're missing the three monster trio, which is what's called Spades of Spades, the right hand and the left hand of the King of the Pirates, which is Luffy, being the king, and his two the right hand, which is Zoro and Sanji. So that might be a problem if they are killed or happens and Luffy ends up fighting them and kicking their ass. So that's a problem. You kill him, Brado. So we're not trying to provoke per Straw Hat Luffy here. So let's not do anything, right? And Quinham also says, we are here to carry out our mission and go back home. So he said, basically, don't do anything stupid. Don't cause no trouble. And our only mission is to skedaddle after we complete our mission. And he had the other say, how dare they do that to Saul and they took Colin too? How could you let this happen, Jinbei? I thought we'd be good with you here. And all the people saying this is Nami. And Jinbei's rebuttal to that is, quit making a racket. I'm trying to think. I wonder how do we handle this ability. And he's talking about Gonko because they haven't seen a devil fruit like her before. I'm telling you, these are the God's Knights. I'm pretty sure they trained in what was it? This powers, six powers, Rokoshiki techniques, and I'm pretty sure they mastered it even beyond that. And on top of that, they got devil fruit. So who knows how long? Matter of fact, who knows how long they had the devil fruits? Mind you, they're the God's Knights. They have not been seen since 800 years, since the Void Century, dating all the way back. So that's something. And then Usopp says that lady is scary. I thought I was a goner. That woman, no, it couldn't be. And all you see is a sword poke at Brook, and Usopp's like, "Oh, she's back!" And the zombie lady and Gonko kicks Brook in the face and knocks him down. And she says, "You there?" And he said, and Brook says, "Talking to me? Your life will be devoted to making music for me. You belong to me." And Brook said, Nami says, "What the? She knows Brook's music? No way. I bet you, I think it was 2 chapters ago, Gonko had those headphones on. The TGs or TS, I'm not sure. She had some headphones on. Now, I'm betting you she was listening to Brook's music the whole time. Trying to, like, in relaxation on a break. And Usopp says, she's a Celestial Dragon and a Soul King fan? And Jinbei says, that's one hell of a group, right? And Say Summers yells at Gonko, so, "Hey Gonko, cut that out. I'm not in the mood to pick a fight with the Emperor here either. So, hurry up and finish what you gotta do. Got it?" And Brook, in a typical fashion, the same, if you remember back, Nami said the same thing too to Oti, or Moti, to her about Luffy. And he says this, which is a wonderful speech Nami did. And Brook says this the best too. My sincerest apologies, young lady. My captain, Straw Hat Luffy, gave me a second lease on life. Since then, my loyalty has been to him alone. And Gonko looks at him like this, and she says, if your refusal means forgetting your life, and Brook says this, I would sooner embrace death than live without honor. And Gonko kicks Brook all the way again, but with force this time, and with the devil fruit on top of that, stacked onto that. And Say Summer says, we good, kill him? And on the other line, he says, let's get it. Announcement to all Elbas. Here we go. Can you hear me, warriors of Elbath? I'll bet by now you are feeling the pressure from all these abnormalities. This is our handiwork. I am the dagger of the Holy Land Marijois, Summers of the God's Knights. And it continues. At the moment, you are probably already aware, but we are currently in the middle of kidnapping 10 children from this country. Oh, he says, oh, by the way, and we've already taken down a certain orange-bearded man who was trying his darnest to free them. In short, he naively assumed those brats would be kept safe. But you remember I said about Summer's devil fruit ability, which that's if the Saul was trying to stop him, and that kind of activated Summer's devil fruit powers, which inflict harm to the children back at him. So they're still storming toward our goal, and everybody's wondering, so, well, shit, this ain't good. Is that Soul? And Quinhill says something to Ripley. Well, not Ripley, but to the librarian. Do you remember the names of all the kids we had march out of here? And she says, of course. All right, then. You'll inform the parents. It's about time for the children to wake up from their dreams anyways. And the children did indeed wake up. Unfortunately. And all of a sudden, 3 creatures, a monster, a ghost, and something else, I think that's it, pops up and tries to, or pops up in front of the awakened children. But all of a sudden, angry moms, and moms with the S starts, or mothers, begins to attack the monster, what was it? The monster and the ghost, and basically kicks all their asses, basically. And angry mothers destroys these destroys these nightmares, basically. And the giant said, Dory and Brody said best of themselves. They're mothers. Anyone would be scared by that, even us. So that's bad. So they came or in anger and mob fashion, angry mother fashion, and started kicking their the nightmare's ass, basically. And one of the ghosts will eyes popped out as soon as the ship started weighing towards them and stuff. To them, it was like, oh, this ain't good. Anyways, Saint Summers continues his broadcast. The ship of the mighty giant warrior pirates just crashed. Some strong dream demons got them. The odds seem to only get worse for those brats. Anyways, let's keep this brief. I am now addressing the legendary warrior Mountain Beard Joel. Seeing as the king's gone, you will speak for Elbath. And Say Summer says it. Our goal is simple. You giants will serve as our battle thralls. Otherwise, meaning hire mercenaries and basically mercenaries. Otherwise, we'll see just how valuable these brats are as hostages. So you got the map of where everybody is. So you basically got Ripley and Frankie still at where they are. Dory, Broggy, and Yasan are, let's call it space to space here. The left, what was it? Yeah, the left hand, probably gonna mess that up. Scopper Gabon is with them too. So you got them not far from where Ripley and Frankie are. And which is West Village is pretty much where you're all, there's space between, here's the map right here. Everybody's spaced out basically. So the time to where they can get the children and get to St. Summers, there's a big ass gap, brother. Unless Luffy and the rest of them that's down there in Niflheim gets back up to the surface and do something. There's a sink in the, or there's a hole in the ship and needs to be patched quickly. So, reluctantly, the librarian says, well, I have the names of the kidnapped children. Alright, so Say Summer says this. The first one is Yolva, which is the girl that's crying right now. Was my great granddaughter. That's Lord Jarrell crying too. He's like, ah, shit. Why you got to say that name? He and Say Summers go down the line of the names too. So here we go. Next we have Scotty. That's some weird names. Anyways, next we have Scotty. And he says, we're helpless, as we are, damn it. Olaf, and he says, a dream? This is just a dream. And one of them says, Captain, that's my grandson. And Dory is like, damn it. Or I think it's Broggy. And he's like, ah, ouch. And next one is Colleen, and she says, I had the worst luck. Mug, I know I'm strong, but I can't stop. Basically, Ronia, and she says it's okay, everything will work out in the end. As she's smiling, which, what kind of type of kid smiles in a situation like this? Knowing that you got a devil fruit ability, which that self-inflicts on you when someone stops you in your tracks. Ronald Johnny says, why did it have to be my daughter? They were on branch 8, right? I'll go save her myself, basically. Say Summers continues with the names down the list. Bent, and he says, Mama's gonna be so mad. Johanna, or is it Johanna? Johanna, I'm gonna say that. Johanna, and she says, at least you have parents. As she sighs eyes with the horn sticking out. And Borjorn, which he says, just save me at least. It was just those 9, but later on, Another was taken because he came to save his friends. One of the children said, "You suck, Bjorn. How could you say something like that?" And he says, "Sorry." And Say Summer says, "The little warrior Cullen, he makes 10." There you go. I should have kept a little just to keep track. Warriors have no need for schools. They don't need libraries or their pointless history either. Set them ablaze and swear your allegiance to us. If you don't, well, we're going to kill your kids off one by one. So I don't know if he's gonna go from 10 down, from start with Colin first, or he's gonna start with number 1 and work his way up to Colin. That's kind of messed up, but at the same time, kind of evil if you actually think about it. And he also says, "Elder Jarrell, the choice is yours." And he says, "Mine?" And one of them says, "Please wait, that's too cruel." And it says, "This school is a symbol of Elbaf's peace, and the library not only safeguards our long history, but also the secrets of the world that the scholar of Ahara sacrificed their lives to protect." Now, Say Summer says this to her. Well, first of all, it doesn't just belong to Elbaf. And Say Summer says, "You sure are a big mouth." And Chopper comes down, and you see the next panel, last panel, and you see Chopper trying to calm Robin down and get her to be quiet. And he says, "Robin, don't do it." And you have Ripley screaming at Yasan, Scopper Gabon, and he says, "Son, please." And you see, and you hear hear his wife, and he makes a beeline towards where the kids are, and he says, "On it." And you get a double page spread pages of Robin and Scarper Gabon about to make their move against the God's Knights. So honestly, or well, not honestly, but it says, "I'm not," and they both say it, "I'm not going to let it happen." An unlikely duel springs into action. Chapter 1147, chapter end. So, final thoughts on this chapter. Well, if so, Robin and Scopper Gabon, I promise you, if Scopper Gabon, or no, if Robin could hold out against one of the God's Knights, because you have two to tango. You have, not only you have Gunko by there, but you also have Saint Summers there too. Two God's Knights she has to go up against. Remember, that's not good. Then if Robin goes all out, which I'm pretty sure she will have to go all out on the two God's Knights on Gunko and Saint Summers, I'm betting, if possible, she would have to use her Awaken ability, which I don't know if she mastered that since Egghead. I'm pretty sure she did. But and here's another thing too, which they can't be killed. So we saw that with what happened to the situation where Usopp made Gunko's body implode, and her upper body was been destroyed, disappeared, and now it reformed, and now she's regenerated faster. So even if Robin can use her Devil Fruit ability and snap Saint Summer and Gunko's necks in half, they can do just revive and regenerate. You basically can't snap them apart. So you're just wasting your energy on doing something. Look at, shoot, how can I, unless there's a situation with Saint Saturn's weakness that we don't know about with that regeneration ability, because I don't know if he can regen. That's a hard. I hate that. There's no ins or out of that. Unless Robin can hold out until Scopper Gabon gets there, because remember, Scopper Gabon, even though he's old, he still got it. So him and Bailey still got it. They can still pull up a fight. Remember, he's been part of the, not the Rocks Pirates, but Rogers Pirates for a long time, and he's a threat. Same thing with Rayleigh. So you remember come on now. Come on now, people. So Scarper Gabon, if he can get there by the time Robin gets her shit wrecked and be done over again, so he is pretty much mollywopped by these two Gods Knights. Scarper Gabon and Robin to both together, I'm pretty sure they would make something happen. But until then, Robin has to, I don't know how fast Scarper Gabon can get there. If he can get there in no time, in 2 minutes or a minute or 5 minutes, depending on, oh man, what's the length of, that's too much of a run gap. I'm guessing 3 minutes looking at the map of where everybody's placed at. Because you have Saint Summers, Gunko, and the rest of the Straw Hats and the children right beside each other, literally with the two Gods Knights. So Robin, I can't forget about Chopper because Chopper would help. But what's good? But what that it's much to think about. But I would say if Robin and Chopper can hold out, if Chopper jumps in with Robin, then time will increase. Well, the survival rate will be up to 50%. But Robin by herself, I don't know. I would say less than 50% because, but if Chopper joins in, that would be another story. So Robin, I would say, got to survive like at least 5 minutes against these two Gods Knights. If she takes action next chapter, so survival, it has survival of the fittest. She got to hold out until Scarper Gabon gets there. If Chopper decides to jump in with Robin, yet and to fight those two, that's also her survivability will not beat up, but will skyrocket to 50%. But come on now, these are Gods Knights, guys. Come on, these are government officials that's been never been seen in public. Even Dragon brought them up and said if they came out, who knows what was gonna happen. Even he was speculating, say they came out anyway, it's not gonna look too good. I bet Dragon was betting on if the Gods Knights were deployed, that won't be good, and we probably might end up with several dead bodies, or dead bodies turn up basically. So, rest of it of now for Luffy and the rest, like I said before, if Luffy and the rest of the people realize what's going on up top, then their priority might shift to get up on top as soon as possible, right? So, but if you like this video, this chapter, subscribe and comment down below if you think Robin can hold out, or if you think Robin and if Chopper jumps in with Robin to fight the Gods Knights, the two Gods Knights, by the way, that all of a sudden got whipped on by one Gods Knight, even though they have 5 people, mind you, 5. If you think that if those two can survive until Scarper Gabon gets there, because if you look at the map, they're kind of, though I can't, how physical fit is Scarper Gabon in terms of old age? If he's like Rayleigh physical, not physical peak, but still fast and shit, I think he can get there in 2 minutes tops if he doesn't slow down. If nothing, if no obstacle is in the way, basically. So, what do you guys think in the comment down below? But see you again, and see you next adventure. Laters.